Welcome again. This is part of the Valentine's Day special. The clock is ticking, it's late. There is a little bit of anxiety in the air. Here is one dish that you can throw together real quick on your way home from work. Or you can go a little bit out of the way from home, from work. Grab yourself a dozen oysters. You can easily find them in this region of the United States, and I'm going to show you how to prepare it in a couple of ways. First of all, you need one of this. This is the perfect knife to shuck oysters. They come in different shapes, different look, but just have one of those in the drawer, just in case. Remember, the oyster always has a round part and a flatter part. You want to shuck your oyster where the rounded part is at the bottom, so that the actual oyster and the juices stay in the shell, and it's easier actually also to shuck like that. I like to use a towel. Put a towel on top. There is a perfect spot right here at the bottom of the oyster here. You insert and you try to find, by wiggling, you're trying to find the giveaway, and all of a sudden it just pops. You really, that's it. Clean your blade. You go under the shell to free the top from the bottom. We loosen it up a little bit. The liquid in there is seawater, totally perfect. And we're going to serve some of those on a half shell. I like to serve them with a little bit champagne, maybe a tip of a caviar, some hot sauce, some wedges of lime and lemon on a bed of some, I used wild arugula just because I like the wild in it, but any green will do it. There you go. Oysters alla Valentino. Valentine's Day oysters. Now, for the ones out there that are not crazy about raw seafood, in this case raw oysters, I'm going to show you another way to enjoy oysters. We are going to make a little crust on top, and we're going to broil them. We're going to take some panko flakes. Panko flakes is like a breadcrumb, but it's a lot flakier, lighter than regular breadcrumbs. We're going to add in there a little bit of the chopped garlic, some parsley, a little bit of that pink champagne, which gives it a nice texture, touch of pepper, a bit of salt, not too much. Oysters came out of the ocean, they already have, and a little bit of olive oil. We're going to mix that. In certain areas, like in the south of France, they like to add, they will probably add some cheese to this. I'm not crazy about the idea of cheese and seafood, so I'm not going to do that. You can see that it's still crumbly, but not dry. So I'm going to scoop just a little amount on each one. And the good part of this is that really everybody can eat them. My kids love them this way. I can never make enough. That's probably the only complaint I ever heard. While the raw oysters are a little more adventurous. Now here we have it. As you can see, a light coating. Sprinkle a tiny bit of oil, just like that. And we're going to put it under the broiler, just briefly. At this point, we don't want to leave the oven alone. We don't want to leave the room, for the matter, because the breadcrumbs will cook super fast. 2-3 minutes top, will be ready. I'm going to stand right here and watch as they're nice and crusty. My oysters are ready. I'm going to take them out. You can see we have this nice caramelization on top, and we are going to serve them just like that. And there you have it. Oysters gratinate. Alright, now I'm going to give an alternative if you did not want to deal with the oysters altogether as an appetizer. Something that's still nice and beautiful to start your evening. What I'll do is I take some of these nice crunchy rolls, I'll cut them in half, and I'll put them in a toaster oven. If you don't, you just put under the broiler briefly. Again, you want to toast them, you don't want them to burn. So we get to that. As the bread is toasting, we're going to prepare a simple, elegant bruschetta. I got some of these little tomatoes to make it more almost festive. I use yellow and red tomatoes versus only red, to just give it some kind of different dimension. I like to cut them in half and then half them again. Now these are very small tomatoes, so that pretty much does it. You don't have to chop them any further. So we like to take that, put it in a bowl. These obviously I prepared. I will take a little bit of garlic. This garlic now is going to be raw, so you don't want to overdo it. Maybe, then again, if you like it, use as much garlic as you want. I like to take roughly a half of a small garlic clove. I slice it this way and then in slivers, and then I chop it really fine to distribute the flavor throughout the dish, so you don't end up with big chunks in one spot. Remember, tomatoes are also really good for you. They're great antioxidant. We're going to use the garlic, which is one of those 10 ingredients we spoke earlier. We're going to use some oregano. Some of you might have your oregano in the little jar. You can go, if you don't, you go get some. In this case, it's freshly grown and dried, but it really doesn't matter. You can, whatever you can get your hands on. I sprinkle some of that on it. I grabbed myself some of these beautiful basil. And what I like to do is I take the leaves and I pile them up. I roll the whole like that, and I make these little ribbons of basil. There you go. We add some of that. A little bit of salt. Now, tomatoes are pretty sweet. You regulate your salt. This is sea salt from Italy. Sea salt versus salt from you know, in the blue box that you get at the supermarket. Some of those salts are from caves and mountains. They are very high in sodium but not in taste. Mediterranean sea salt, it's pure dehydrated seawater, has less sodium but more flavor. It's more flavor, so you tend to use less and achieve more. Also, in this situation, I could leave it like that, but what I'm going to add is some nice fresh mozzarella to this dish. I'll cut it first in slices, and then again, and basically I want this little tube of mozzarella. I'm sure everybody can hear the beeping of the toaster. Here we are, a little bit of pepper and some really good olive oil. Somewhere on Ask Chef Tony you can find that episode how to pick your olive oil. I'm not going to go through it today, but remember, nice and green, olives are green, so it should be the olive oil. We're going to sprinkle some of that over it. We get our crostini bread. We mix our tomatoes. If you see that it could be a little dry, and you can always add a little olive oil at the end, also to decorate the plate. I think it's perfect the way it is right now. We're going to scoop about a tablespoon on each one of this, and don't worry about if it spills over. I actually like it, kind of creates a nice decoration right there. And here is my Valentine bruschetta. One last thing maybe is to add a little more of the basil to decorate. Maybe in a corner like that. And here, bruschetta alla Valentino.